Greetings everyone, my name is Cédric Chuuma for Financial Insight Zambia, and welcome to the Property Series. Right now I am joined by the Hills Director, Mondo George Chibesakunda. Mondo, how are you doing?
Good, thanks Cédric. How are you?
I'm good, glad to have you.
Thanks for having me.
So are you able to tell us what the landscape looks like for large-scale property developers?
I think the landscape for large-scale developing projects is promising. I think the last few years has had a bit of a downturn in terms of commercial, especially some aspects of retail. But I think one area of the real estate sector that stayed relatively stable is the residential, which leads us to a very interesting time period, because the Hills project is, to our knowledge, probably the largest new residential project that's on the market right now. So to answer your question, we think the landscape for it is pretty good.
So what has been the market like for your particular housing solution offering, and what is your unique value proposition?
So it's still a fairly new product. In terms of what our value proposition is, we're offering a brand new secure housing estate with a variety of housing options and plot options. So anything up from your 20 by 30, 600 square meter plots all the way up to your 2.5 acre sort of 20,000 square meter properties, or 10,000 square meter properties, sorry. In addition to that, we have an end-to-end or one-stop shop solution. In addition, we obviously offer a turnkey solution. So essentially, from easing the headache of finding land elsewhere and finding your architects to design your property, and finding your contractors, sorting out your payments, whether it's a payment plan, whether it's a facility with a financial institution. We sort of have everything in-house, which we can help advise on and offer to our clients.
And what are the financing solutions for prospects, and how are they incorporated in your offering as the Hills Limited?
So our in-house financing options are payment plans. So what we offer is a 20% deposit payment and up to 36-month payment plans, which vary depending on the plot that you choose. As far as financing options with institutions, we have an MOU with Bank Zambia, which is one of the largest local banks, and they essentially offer mortgages on house construction. So essentially how that works is we build the house to a habitable state or to a complete state, depending on the arrangement with the homeowner, and the bank will essentially give a mortgage on the value of the property.
And what are some of the advantages of your particular financing solutions?
Well, the advantages are that if, argument's sake, you're a young working professional, you obviously might have other commitments, whether it's like little kids in school or other lifestyle obligations. It's essentially a form of consumption smoothing. So rather than you having to look for anywhere between 750,000 and 1.5 million 𝘋𝘧 to build your house, you can spread that cost over up to 10 to 15 years, depending on the criteria that the bank sets.
And also, what are some of the challenges that property developers such as yourself face, and how is the Hills Limited offering solutions for these challenges?
Well, the position that we are in Lusaka right now is that we have a bit of a housing deficit. As far as we step into that, we're obviously offering housing solutions all the way down from your entry level, your mid level, and obviously your high end. So although we're an aspirational product, we pride ourselves on being quite accessible also. So in terms of the solutions that we offer to some of those issues, we think it's essentially a secure investment that provides reasonable and quite promising long-term capital gains.
I did mention earlier that you have turnkey solutions. So how important is having end-to-end solutions, and are you able to walk us briefly through your particular offering?
Of course. Not sure if you've ever gone through the painstaking process of building a property or a project from the ground up without any proper structures, but I certainly have. And one of the things I wish I knew before was the importance of, let's say, having your architectural plans up to a certain standard, which obviously avoids issues in the long run. Having your contractors being of a certain standard, a certain qualification, having a certain reputation. In addition to that, obviously your financing needs to be properly organized. So I think us having a turnkey solution sort of ticks all those boxes, rather than you having to sort of shop around too much and have to figure that out yourself. We essentially come in and say, we have the land, we have the contractors, we have the architectural plans, and can essentially offer you a fully built housing solution within a.
So what are some of the development milestones that you have actually achieved as the Hills?
So as of right now, we've fenced the entire property, which is a fairly sizable piece of land. It's 1,000 acres. We've since put up an entrance. We've initiated our first stage of road development. So that's the clearing, grading, sidewalks, curbstones. We're doing a lot of clearing on the general areas in phase 1. So where the lifestyle center, the clubhouse is going to be. Construction should be starting very, very soon on that. We've started the initial subdivisions physically of the 280 properties which are part of phase 1. Obviously pending final processing and title deed submission. So post completion of the title deed process, we'll then roll into phase 2, which is essentially the next stage of the Hills development, which will be your larger properties with additional amenities. I think the Hills concept is essentially a lifestyle estate. So we hope to roll out as many lifestyle amenities to keep our customers and homeowners happy, keep them relatively occupied. We're promoting a green lifestyle, so we have an abundance of running trails, cycling lanes. We will also have a commercial district, so we're promoting if you live, work, play lifestyle. So the commercial district will essentially have your retail, small retail grocery shops, for example, your restaurants, your bars, your gyms, spas, and your everyday amenities that make living in the Hills as good as living in 𝘓𝘓𝘭𝘴.
All right, and also for prospects who might want to know more about the Hills, or maybe perhaps even purchase a property with you, how can they find you and where are you exactly located?
So our office is located in 𝘓𝘓𝘭𝘴 on Reedbuck Road. The Hills property itself is in the Leopards Hill area, Palabana area of Leopards Hill, along Palabana Road. So we're about 16 kilometers from the police checkpoint on Leopards Hill Road.
Okay. All right, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thanks, Cédric.
And right now I am joined by a very, very exciting guest, the CEO of Diaspora Connect, Natasha Chiumya. Natasha, how are you doing?
I'm great, Cédric. How are you?
I'm good. Glad to have you. I'm a big fan. I see all your work.
Thank you so much.
So you have a particular niche, that is clients in the diaspora. Are you able to tell us the types of real estate that clients in the diaspora actually prefer?
First of all, thank you for inviting me to your beautiful studio. Well done. It looks amazing. So yeah, clients in the diaspora really have that connection to home. So what we have found is that many of them are looking at residential properties because it's really important for them to have somewhere to come home to not just to say home as in Zambia, but where is home in Zambia? So we found that a lot of our clients are very interested in residential properties. But what I find very interesting now is that I'm seeing more of an interest for other types of real estate. So as you know, many of our friends in the diaspora are professionals. They're well educated. They've had very good jobs, a lot of exposure. So we're seeing queries coming in for things like tourism real estate, medical real estate, medical personnel who want to perhaps set up a clinic or a specialized service here, teaching as well. So we're getting those types of queries, but unfortunately we're not able to handle them fully because we deal solely with residential properties.
Okay, and what does the landscape look like for diaspora investing in Zambian real estate?
It's very positive. And I think it's very positive for a number of reasons. First of all, I would say that as I said in my previous answer, the diaspora are very connected to home. So they really have a pulse on what's going on at home. And I think what we've seen through the figures is that once we had a change of an administration, then we saw a lot of positive sentiment to invest back home. And I think we've seen that in the remittance figures. So between 2020 and 2021, remittances actually grew by 80% to $240 million. And that's a huge, huge increase. The other thing why I would say the sentiment is so positive is because despite what the market is doing, whether it's a slow market or it's a very aggressive market, people still have that connection to home, as I alluded to. So you find that they're always looking for ways and means to invest back home. So that sort of keeps the sentiment quite positive, despite what's going on economically or even politically.
And you mentioned the key statistics there with regards to remittances, right? Are there any other statistics that you look at as well?
Yeah, so we also look at what people are sending back home on a monthly or a quarterly basis. And I think from that same study, it revealed that over half of the respondents are sending between $200 to $3,000 a month or every quarter, monthly or quarterly back home. So I think these are really healthy statistics. And this shows that people are wanting to invest back home and are doing so. And I think if they were aware of different mechanisms, perhaps even different investment types, I think we would see that figure going up even more. Those figures are really indicative of how the diaspora view themselves as being part of the development story of the country, despite being far away. And despite some of them even having a foreign passport, because we know that a lot of our friends in the diaspora don't necessarily hold Zambian passports, but they continue to identify very strongly as Zambians. So those are some of the things that we track as well. I would say the other thing that we look at is global changes. And I think that that's also important. So you have things like the pandemic, COVID, which brought a lot of people back home. That makes people start to seriously think about investing back home, because some people might procrastinate for a long time. They think, oh, I'll do it next year. But when something like COVID happens, it forces people to take action a lot sooner. Politics, not just here, but also internationally. So I think in countries where we've seen maybe a more right-wing politics come into play. So, for example, in the US, in the previous administration that they had, in the UK, we've had Brexit. All of those things trigger a thought process in people. In South Africa, we've had xenophobic attacks in the recent years. So that sort of political environment in the countries in which our friends are residing also make them think very strongly about having to invest back home.
And what are some of the key concerns for people in the diaspora investing in Zambia? And what solutions do you provide to address these concerns?
Yeah, so that's a really great question. So I think everything that I've said is pointing to how people want to invest back home, but there are many stumbling blocks from them actually pulling the trigger. So I think one of the challenges that we see is that people don't really know where to start. It's very hard for them to find good information about where the opportunities are. So we deal in real estate, and that landscape has really changed from the time we started this business and started actually researching this business. At the time, the internet and social media wasn't as active as it is today, so information was incredibly difficult to find. But now what we find is that there's so much information. You just go onto Facebook, and there are different groups advertising things like houses in Lusaka for sale, houses in Lusaka for rent. You know, we've all seen those groups. So now people don't know what is genuine. Previously, the problem was they didn't have information. Now they've got so much information that they don't know what's credible and what's genuine and what's not. So that's one of the challenges that we see. The other challenge that we see is that people have gone through a lot. They've been swindled, they've been, they've suffered at the hands of fraudsters, and unfortunately, they've suffered at the hands of their own family members and friends. So, they talk amongst each other, and they hear all these horror stories, and that really scares them from making that investment, no matter how much they want to. And I would say the third thing that really prevents people from investing back home is nobody wants to buy a property which has been sold to 4 or 5 other people. There's that fear that if I buy this property, am I really the first person to buy it? Maybe it's already been sold to others, and then I'm going to lose my money. It's going to go down a black hole. The person might switch off their phone. There are all sorts of scenarios that will play out in their minds that they've seen other people go through. So how we help address these challenges is that we do a due diligence on the vendors that we place on our platform. So if anybody had to go to our website right now, they would find that we actually don't have a huge selection of properties because we wouldn't be able to do a due diligence on all of those vendors. So we make sure that the vendors that we have are genuine and that they're able to transfer title to those properties once our clients finish paying for them. The other thing is that because we've done that due diligence, we know that that property is going to be sold only to them. They're not going to find themselves in that situation where, no, there's somebody else who bought this plot, or no, it's been sold to 4 or 5 other people. That situation won't arise because, we've done all those checks beforehand. And then I would say, thirdly, the way we assist people is that we hold their hands through the entire buying process. So a lot of agents are probably focused on just making the sale, but we are focused on providing a service that takes them from their initial interest in that property, giving them all the information that they need, helping them with the actual purchase process, which is, can be quite cumbersome. It's a legal process, and then ensuring at the end of the day they get their title. So they have somebody who's holding their hand throughout the process, and that gives them a huge amount of peace of mind.
And you've mentioned several challenges. These challenges also mean you have to take an innovative approach when it comes to marketing of this particular opportunity that you find. So what are some of the ways that you market to people in the diaspora, and what do you do differently when marketing to people who are local?
That's a great question, Cédric. You are so correct. The way that we market to people in the diaspora is very unique and very different. So one of the things that I've learned is that with the diaspora, you have to be consistent. So we have a lot of people that want to tap into that diaspora market, but they're not willing to do the work of being consistent. So I remember when we just started this business, we had done our market research, we had spoken to clients in the diaspora, everybody was saying, this is fantastic, go for it, you have to do it, we need this service. We launched the business and it's crickets. We didn't sell a property for 2 years. It was completely dead quiet.
Wow.
And the reason was that people didn't know us. And already they had those trust issues from all the examples I've given you.
Yeah.
But when we started to see some traction, we were well into our 3rd, 4th year of business. So with the diaspora market, you have to be consistent. It's not a flash in the pan. It's not about saying post this on Facebook or let's run this campaign for 2 weeks. Let's go and visit them once and then disappear. You won't be able to gain their trust that way. So we have to be consistent, and we have to be visible, and we have to demonstrate that we are trustworthy and credible. So how we do that is we have a very robust online marketing strategy. We have a YouTube channel where we feature all of our properties. And so people can see from the videos the properties we're talking about. And not only do we showcase those properties, we actually show the area. We have drone shots. We show them what amenities are available in the area. So we really provide a lot of information. And also we have a database that we encourage people to subscribe to, especially in the diaspora. And we send out weekly or fortnightly emails where we just keep them up to date with what's happening in the market. So we have to be top of mind, and we have to educate them. So on our YouTube channel, not only are we giving information about our properties, we're also giving information about what's happening in the market. We're providing educational information on the process of buying land and building. So all of those things help to build credibility with people in the diaspora. And it's for that reason that we don't market one-off properties on our platform, because we couldn't possibly do all of that work for just one house in Olympia or a flat in Kablonga. I get a lot of people who want us to market their properties, and unfortunately we can only deal with volumes. And that's why we deal mostly with developments or those who are selling a minimum number of units. So that we can take advantage of economies of scale, because we do have to provide a lot of information and a lot of online marketing in our approach.
Congratulations on the 9,000 subscribers, by the way.
Thank you very much. And I know you are one of our early subscribers.
Yes, I was there. I was that one like.
Imagine.
You know? It's quite amazing what you've built.
Thank you. And you know, Cedric, I was saying when I posted about that, I remember when we had 89 subscribers. And you know, you start something like that and you think, am I wasting my time? Is this thing really going to take off? But like I said, you just have to continue to be consistent, doing the videos, pushing them out, promoting them, and knowing that someone somewhere is getting value out of it, like yourself.
Yeah, very much. And also wanted to ask, what are some of the financing options that are available to people who want to buy property from the diaspora?
Yeah. So that's a great question. And a lot of people in the diaspora actually get in touch with us because they're looking for those types of financing options. So there are a few financial institutions that have seen the potential of this market. And first of all, I want to talk about Zambia National Building Society. They have a mortgage product that's really tailored to people in the diaspora. And if people are interested, they can watch a video that we did with Cynthia Mwila, who was with Building Society at the time, talking about their product. Another great financial institution that is really coming up with innovative products for the diaspora is Zanaco. They were our lead sponsor when we went to Atlanta last year, and they have an array of products for people in the diaspora. The other thing, Cedric, that I would like to say, and I always encourage people in the diaspora, when you come home, that's the time to establish a working relationship with a bank. Because a lot of people in the diaspora just say, oh no, it's so difficult for us to access diaspora loans. But the fact of the matter is, I cannot walk into a bank in the UK today, in America, and just open an account and get a mortgage. It doesn't mean that just because you're a Zambian and you come home to Zambia, that immediately a financial institution will be able to transact with you. No, the world has changed. You're in the financial sector. You're in the business of providing financial information. The financial sector has gone through a lot of changes in the last 20 years. It's becoming increasingly difficult for us to transact because the banks want to know, who are you? What is your source of income? Where do you get your income from? Are you a law-abiding citizen, you know? So my advice is always, when you come, yes, you're having a nice time, you're going to kitchen parties, you're going to weddings, memorials, take some time for business. Go to the bank, open an account. Be sending money to that account once in a while. I've just talked about the remittance figures. That $200 to $3,000 shouldn't go straight to your relatives. Put some of it in your account, and from your account, you send it to your relatives so that the account is active and the bank can see this is a good customer. Then you go to them and you say, I want to borrow money. And they'll be willing to listen to you and help you.
Oh, that's very enlightening. I'd also like to know, for those who would like to connect with you or even get to know more about buying property in Zambia, how can they reach you exactly?
Thank you so much. So we are buying property in Zambia on all social media platforms. That is YouTube channel and Facebook, Instagram, and X. Yes, you can find us. And LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great platform for us. Okay. Yeah, so you can find us on buying property in Zambia.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me here.
Thank you. This is Cédric Chuuma for Financial Insight Zambia. Get to know.